Hi dear friends. Now let me start with a new topic which is Linux hacking or Linux security. In order to understand Linux hacking, we must know the basic forms of Linux or Unix operating system, detecting its system structure, the general commands, file and directory permissions, logging and so on. We should also know how they interact with the environment. Linux is a clone of Unix based operating system and is distributed under open license freeware. Now, what is the difference between Linux and Windows operating system? Windows started as a desktop OS but now is a respected server platform. Linux took the opposite path. Windows have different drivers while Linux has no drives. In Windows, we cannot have two files with the same name, while in Linux, we can have two files with the same name, but only we need to take care about the case sensitivity. For example, in Windows we cannot have two files named sample and sample as capital, but in Linux we can have two files named sample and sample. In Windows, my documents is a default home directory, while in Linux /home/username is a default home directory. Now what are the different variants of Linux? There are many variants of Linux, but here we will be focusing on RPM based Linux, Debian based Linux, OpenSUSE based Linux. RPM based Linux. These are the Linux based operating systems that use .rpm file format. Its main distributions include Red Hat Linux and SUSE Linux. The community supported RPM based Linux is a Red Hat, and commercially supported distribution is called Red Hat Enterprise Linux or RHEL. The examples of community-supported RPM-based Linux includes Fedora, and examples of RHEL includes CentOS. Now Debian-based Linux. The distribution of Debian-based Linux uses .deb file format, emphasizing free software and supporting many hardware platforms. Some examples of Debian-based Linux includes Kali Linux, Ubuntu, and Backtrack. Now OpenSUSE based Linux. SUSE based Linux is divided into two types, OpenSUSE based and SUSE Enterprise Linux. So some of the examples of this type of Linux include SUSE Linux Enterprise Desktop, SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, SUSE Studio and Gecko Linux. Now let us see the file system structure in Linux. /bin. It is a directory in Linux for binaries also called executables that affect the entire system. /usr. It is a directory along with a subdirectories which allows organization of user files. /etc. It is a directory consisting of system configuration files. /dev. It is a directory for physical and logical device configurations. /var. It is a directory where contents are expected to change. /home. It is a directory where users do their work. Now come to the permissions and user accounts. Unix file permissions. Each file in Unix or folder has read, write and execute access permissions based on the owner of the file, the group and the other users. Now there are two things to look out here, chmod and chown or chgrp. Chmod, it is a Unix file permission utility whose command is written as, for example, chmod space dash u plus r space a file name, where u is for the user who owns the file and r is for read. Chown or chgrp, it modifies permissions of the owner and group of each file. Now what is Pluggable Authentication Module or PAM? Pluggable Authentication Module includes a set of system libraries that are responsible for Linux authentication. The configuration files of PAM are located in /etc/pam.d directory. Authentication in PAM are maintained by four functions: authentication auth, it establishes a user identity. Password. It is used when user provides authentication credentials such as password. Sessions or session, it helps in processing of services and tasks associated with user authentication. Accounts or account, it performs those actions that are not related to authentication. Now locking user accounts after too many login failures. PAM underscore tally module will lock a user account after too many failed attempts. No underscore magic underscore root tells the system not to lock the user account. By editing and adding the PAM underscore tally module in etc slash pam.d slash system-auth file, which prevents many web application attacks such as brute force attacks, denial of service attacks, and so on. To unlock an account after too many login failures, we take the help of the fail log command. The command for fail log is fail log space dash r space dash u and space username. Now we can also use passwd command to lock and unlock user accounts. The command would look like lock space account, then passwd space dash l space username. To unlock the account, we would write passwd space dash u space username. Now what are the security features by Xinetd? Xinetd is a short form for Extended Internet Services Daemon. It has some wonderful security features such as limiting the number of connections any host can make, killing the services if any of these hosts are exceeded. It is a brilliant feature to prevent from severe attacks such as DOS and port scans on a server and so on. Another benefit of Xinetd is network filtering. The benefit of this is in this way, suppose if we bind secure shell SSH to a LAN interface, this way the system won't allow any SSH connection request from the internet and would prevent from reconnaissance and any other type of attacks. Now backup with DD. DD is an utility, a feature in Linux to provide a backup to ensure a mitigation if something undesirable thing happens. Data loss is something that can turn out to be very costly. Now to back up the copy of an entire hard disk to another hard disk connected to the same system, we use the following commands. dd space f is equal to slash dev slash sda space off is equal to slash dev slash sdb. Now to back up just a partition, we can specify just a part in the output using the dd command. dd space f is equal to slash dev slash sda1 space off is equal to slash part1.img. Now how to set up password aging. The change command in Linux determines the number of days password changes and the last date of password change. Now the /etc/login.ds file allows us the site specific configuration for the shadow password file where the password aging configuration file is present. Few of the commands we can use are to disable password changing. We will use change space -m space 9999 space a username. Now to view the password aging information, we'll use change space -l and space a username. Now if the non-root account have UID value set to 0, we know that only the root account must have UID value set to 0. Now if a non-root account have UID value set to 0, we need to delete that account immediately. To see what account have UID value set to 0, we use the following command awk space -f then colon $3 is equal to 0 then print then /etc/password. Now to minimize the software to reduce the vulnerability. You should try minimizing unwanted software to reduce the risk of vulnerability. This is because if the attacker uses the flaws in software installed in Linux and exploits them, so there is any software which is unwanted for use, we should try removing it to reduce the chance of the system getting exploited by the attacker. To delete all unwanted softwares, we could use the following commands: yum space list space installed. Then we would be writing yum space list space package name, and then we'll write yum space remove then package name. Or else we can also use the dpkg command. We can use the dpkg command in the following manner: dpkg space dash dash list, then dpkg space dash dash info space package name, and then apt dash get remove then package name. Thank you. Hope so you had learned about how to secure Linux.